Hey guys, IMO here. In this video, we go over Mission Impossible 2, a sequel that is certainly the least liked film in the franchise. But is it as bad as common opinion makes it out to be? Or does, in fact, this film possess redeeming qualities? Warning, spoilers ahead. When rogue IMF agent Sean Ambrose attempts to unleash a deadly virus, Ethan Hunt is sent in with a small team to attempt to find the virus first and stop him. But does Ambrose's similar training give him the upper hand? This is Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 2 is an interesting sequel in that while it is much improved with regards to some details, with regards to others, it is not nearly as good. Let's talk about the positives first, shall we? Tom Cruise did a much better job this time around, in that he's more, charismatic and less annoying like he was in the first film. His performance is probably the best out of the entire cast, although I do think that Thorndie Newton also did a pretty good job with the material she was given. More on that later. Another of the big upgrades in this film is the cinematography, in that now it, exists. There are some pretty good shots in this 2000s action flick. Speaking of the action, it's much better this time around as well. Unlike the previous film, the effects here have aged fairly gracefully, probably due to the fact that this time most of them, if not all, are real. To be fair, there is a good chunk of slow motion used in some of the action scenes, but at least I, for one, didn't find it to be that distracting, as slow-mo scenes go. This film and its own direct sequel mark the transition phase of the Mission Impossible franchise, from its start in the spy genre to its more action-heavy, stunt-oriented current form, and you can sense it in the tone of this film. And this brings me to one of my first real issues with Mission Impossible 2, the tone. Ultimately, what this comes down to is that this film doesn't know what kind of film it wants to be, a serious spy thriller like its precursor, or a cheesy action flick. You can feel this disconnect most strongly with Douglas Scott's performance as Sean Ambrose. One moment, he's menacing and psychotic, and the next he's hamming it up, and it's bad and cringe. The score also aids and abets this tonal dysphoria, whereas in the first film the score was all around one of the best aspects. It is also too over the top and honestly distracting at times. Oh, and in one scene there are pigeons everywhere, and it's really weird. I have no idea why this is a thing. The writing is perhaps Mission Impossible 2's greatest weakness. The script is, to be honest, fairly weak, clunky, and extremely simplistic. To be perfectly clear, we're talking about I don't like sand levels of writing. Even so, in my opinion, Mission Impossible 2 isn't nearly as bad as most people make it out to be. In fact, I would go so far as to argue that it is better than its predecessor, if only by a razor's edge, due again to the fairly good performances and great action scenes. And with that, now it's time to close out. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like and or a comment. It helps me and my channel reach new viewers, and I would really appreciate it. I'm going to be covering all the rest of the Mission Impossible films fairly soon, so if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe and make sure all notifications are on. If you want to support my channel further, I have a Substack where you can subscribe to read my periodic articles, which you can get to through a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. IMO out.